So, book bannings are still happening, and lo and behold, most of them are just thinly veiled queerphobia, with the same think of the children excuse that's been used for decades now to keep anyone the bigots don't like out of books given to children. Same old, but this still results in quite a few books getting lost or hidden, and this can happen even without book bans. So today I've gathered a few of the graphic novels I've read, specifically about transgender characters since that's my area of expertise. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find enough asexual characters for a video unless you're willing to venture into the world of electronic media, though depending on how this video does, I may explore that in a future one. Though our first recommendation is an exception to that. Friends with Benefits. Like most of the books in this video, it started as a webcomic on both Webtoon and Tapas by an author who goes by Nezkovsu. I'm not sure. Anyway, Friends with Benefits is a slice-of-life comic about a group of people who work in an office. Our central figure, Ari McCure, is asexual and gender-fluid and has long since come to terms with their identity, but struggles to form social connections thanks to a troubled relationship they have with their parents. Yes, the art style is very minimalistic, but the characters are endearing and the comedy is on point. Also, there's quite the diverse array of identities being shown here, even aside from Ari. From fan-favorite trans man Rohan Sakar to possible aromantic spectrum Taemin, who Ari seems to be sweet on. The characters are just moving through life, but they grow as they explore their identities and decide the kind of people they want to be. And I really can't do it justice here. This is one of my favorite webcomics and one of the best comfort foods I've ever had. There's also a sequel called Friends with Solitude, about a mostly new cast of characters. Links to all of this in the description. Next recommendation is one you may have heard of, The Prince and the Dressmaker, by Jen Wang. This one is about Frances, a seamstress who, after making an, exotic outfit for a bratty girl who requested it, is given an offer to be the personal seamstress for a princess who turns out to be a prince. Sometimes. You see, Prince Sebastian has a secret. He sometimes feels like a princess and likes to wear dresses. And now that Frances is his personal seamstress, she has to make him beautiful dresses and go out with him when he becomes Princess Crystalia, going out in fashion shows and parties. Also, Frances develops some feelings for the princess persona. But Sebastian's parents are really trying to get him married off. And as both plot lines progress, hijinks ensue as they try to keep the secret. This story is as enjoyable and wholesome as they come, even with the drama. The end and resolution is a bit predictable, but it's more than worth a read. Next up, we've got another graphic novel adapted from a webcomic, Magical Boy by The Cow. Unlike Friends with Benefits, this one is exclusive on Tapas unless you buy the 2 physical volumes. Magical Boy, as the name implies, is a transmasculine take on a magical girl story. Our hero, Max, is the latest in a long line of magical girls destined to save humanity from the Dark Lord Devoid. His mother was the previous magical girl in the line and has a bit of a problem with misgendering him, and trying to get him to act more feminine because that's how she thinks the power of light is best channeled. Max, of course, finds this insufferable and tries doing things his way, even as he stumbles his way to world saving. But there are some people who support him, like his dad and his best friend, who's willing to sneak a binder to him while they're at school. But as things escalate, bonds are tested, and it pushes Max to question if he can really save the day and be his true self. Now, I'll admit I'm trans femme, so you can take what I say with a grain of salt, and while the author isn't a trans man himself, he did interview several before making the comic. Again, speaking as someone from the other end of the gender spectrum, I loved Max's conflict with his mom and his struggle with discovering his own presentation of his gender identity. It made the story more dramatic, offering a back-and-forth motion to the central conflict. Now, I won't spoil any more, but it tied everything up in a nice little bow, and it fittingly felt like a new beginning. Our last recommendation for the day I don't have too much to say about since I haven't read it, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Dead Endia. Yes, the comic that Dead End Paranormal Park on Netflix is based on. Unlike the cartoon, Hamish Steele was able to finish the comic, and if it's anything like the Netflix series, it has themes of rebelling against a controlling society, and it's got more than enough lore to keep your interest. So with all that said and done, have you read any of the books we've gone over today? If so, what did you think of them? Also, if you have any of your own queer books to recommend, I may add them to my list. And if this video does well enough, I may do a similar one for traditional novels. Thank you so much for watching, I'm Kieran Mythos, and I'll see you all next time.